If you can't tell by the music, this is a podcast that the instant we said we were going to do it the way we were going to do it, I have been excited to do. Today, we don't have any topics. We are simply going to be talking about some of our favorite comic books of all time, plus reviewing what we did over the last week, and of course previewing our panel over at the International Conference for Men's Issues. So let's go ahead and get to it. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, not Chicago this time, next week.
Yes. Welcome to Micah and The Hatman, live. Alright, let's go ahead and get right down to it. Hatman, if you would.
Me.
Go ahead and give us your review of the week.
So, I finally finished The Sopranos.
The show where Tony Soprano gets fatter and his son gets thinner.
Oddly enough, yes. Yeah, so the finale is one of the... It's weird, because it's been at least 10 years. I think it's like 12 years or something, hasn't it?
Yes.
Since the finale aired?
Mm-hmm.
So it's become part of pop culture in a way. I mean, it's been joked about, it's been written about. You know, you've seen retrospectives on it, and it's one of those things that I knew was coming. Yet when it finally got there, it still pissed me off, just because of how sudden it was. It's weird. It's kind of weird when you know something is coming, but then you're like, oh, that's it. Yeah, fuck that, you know? But I still am of the opinion that he got whacked. He was killed. There is absolutely no way that he was not killed in the finale. The return to that conversation of you don't even know it's coming. You don't hear it in the previous episode. The reference to Godfather with the dude in the members only jacket, members only being that episode where he was shot the first time.
Yeah.
Where he goes to the bathroom, presumably to retrieve a gun like in Godfather. There's too many signs. The fact that it's just so slow in the end, there's no way. There's no way that he did not die, in my mind. He had to have. Now you finished this well before me.
Actually, no.
What do you think happened?
I actually stopped watching it after a while. Yeah, never finished it. Got to the end of season 3 and stopped there.
Wow. I'm surprised.
It didn't really hook me as much as I thought it was going to. I kind of have to take it in doses.
Well, that's sort of what I did too. Really, that's what I did around the end of the series. Last season, really last 2 seasons, were kind of slow. They were slow burns. And towards the very, very end of the last season, it felt like it was going to pick up to the point where I was like, well, God, how many episodes do I have left? And then I realized, oh, I've got 2 more episodes after this one, when it looks like it's about to kick up into a full-on, family war. Shit, are you kidding me? Really? So I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of slow, and there are some things that I think are boring in the end. I don't know if I could say that the finale was like one of the best ever, which is now how it's being received. Honestly, I still think that sudden cut to black is kind of a cheap way out.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the same vein as, completely fuck over your story like Game of Thrones, but it's unsatisfying. it's very, very unsatisfying. The last couple of episodes of the series really were just unsatisfying. There's no true resolution to a lot of the plot lines that are going on. Like, for example, Dr. Melfi decides to finally drop Tony Soprano because of this study about how psychopaths are basically using therapy as a way to absolve themselves of guilt. They're testing their therapist, and it like comes up in the episode immediately before she finally drops him. It's not allowed to fester, if you will. It just comes up, and that's it. That's the last you see of her, and she's mentioned like once more afterwards, and Carmela's like, well, she was kind of an asshole. And then that's it. That's the end of it. Whereas, that was a big part of the entire series, and yet it's dropped right there. I don't know. It's really not satisfying. So I don't know. Maybe you were right to drop it after the third season, but whatever. In the end, watch the series, but expect some headcanon when you're done.
Yeah. Apparently they're doing a sequel to it though that will end up revealing what actually happened to Tony, which is probably dead one way or another.
Prequel.
Yeah.
What's happening is a prequel.
Oh.
It's a prequel movie set when Tony Soprano is a kid and James Gandolfini's son is playing him.
Interesting.
So, and I believe that's releasing either end of this year or sometime next year.
Interesting.
But that's what's happening.
My pick of the week. I read some comics.
Is it Carnage?
Yes.
Oh, how is it?
Oh, it was great.
Really?
I was surprised. So, for those who don't know, Donny Cates is a prick. But he is a very talented writer. Very talented. Ryan Stegman is not a prick, his artist. And he is very, very talented. In fact, Ryan Stegman's probably the best Venom artist I have seen since Mark Bagley. I think that's pretty safe to say. Absolute Carnage #1 hit stands this week. And some people will notice it actually does cost a little bit more than your average comic. That's basically because it's not a single issue comic book. It's a graphic novel. It's a 60-page graphic novel. This is longer than Graveyard Shift, and it's considerably cheaper. No offense, John Malin, but John also doesn't have like a ton of ads that are financing the printing. He's just doing it all himself. So, but like this is double the size of Englewood. So, pretty crazy for Marvel to be releasing this the way that there are. It's an event, so there's a ton of tie-ins. But the only tie-ins that look like they're even going to matter are going to be the ones in the Spider-Man and Venom comics. So the plot to this one is that prior to what had happened, the Venom symbiote had separated from Eddie Brock again during the War of the Realms event. Well, now it's back. It had been watching over him as time went on, and a chance encounter with Cletus Cassidy in a subway ends with realizing that Cletus has merged something with the Carnage symbiote to make him that much stronger. What that something is the symbiote of a being called Null, spelled K-N-U-L-L. What Null is he was a dark god that created the symbiotic race. And the symbiote that he wore, like what was the name of it? It's called Grendel. And Grendel has merged with the Carnage symbiote and now is completely bonded to Cletus Cassidy, making him considerably more powerful than he was before. And that's saying something. Because here's the thing. The process in which Eddie defeated the Grendel the first time was he had to force it into an oven, and it burned both of them alive. Eddie barely recovered. It took the symbiote even longer to recover. Its mental state, basically. So, needless to say, Null is dead, the god. The symbiote god is dead, and he killed him, but the symbiote that Null wore is not dead. So, that in and of itself is scary as it is. Now, what has been discovered, and this is something that Donny Cates has added to the symbiote mythos. He's added a lot of things to it. He hasn't subtracted anything, I've noticed. He's added stuff. Is that part of the way that symbiotes are able to rebond with people that they've bonded with before so easily is they leave a piece of themselves behind. This is something that, oddly enough, Dan Slott touched upon in his run on Spider-Man in the early days in the New Ways to Live story, or New Ways to Die story. So, what ends up happening is there's these things that they leave in your spinal column called codices, or codexes, or a codex. Plural would be codices. And Carnage is finding that if a symbiote reabsorbs them, they actually gain strength in doing so. So he has gone and killed just about everyone that has ever had a symbiote on them, or ripped the spine out of the dead. That includes people like Thunderbolt Ross, and is revealed in this that Carnage debased the grave and body of Anne Wang. When Eddie Brock sees that, the way that he reacts is heartbreaking, to say the least. Crap, we lost connection. A little bit of a hiccup there. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, so that's the general plot. What the Peter Parker. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, what you get in this comic is Spider-Man and Venom teaming up once again. And somehow, I don't know how this is possible, Eddie remembers who Peter is. You have to remember that after one more day, everybody forgot who Peter Parker was, even Venom. But now he somehow remembers, so that's a plot hole. But I don't care, because it's a good dynamic. So yes, there are obvious parallels in this to Maximum Carnage. And I really feel like what Donny Cates is going to try to do is try to make the Maximum Carnage that we all wanted with the first one. And I think that it goes beyond like the way that I've spoken about this comic so far. This is a must-own. This is really good. Donny Cates is bringing 100%. Ryan Stegman is bringing 100%. The colorist on this book is phenomenal. It's just so well done. Not to mention, Donny Cates writes a great Spider-Man. And Peter actually reacts the way you would expect him to. Peter is drawn the way that he should be drawn. He's not drawn like an everyman. He's given the hero build again. He looks fantastic. Like, this truly is a magnificent comic. It's sort of, the interesting thing about it, I love the way that Richard put it. It's kind of like Watchmen for normies. You know, he's going for that style of dark writing, but it's so easy to get into. You know, unlike Watchmen, which kind of has a barrier of entry. You know, these are characters that you're familiar with, but he's telling a dark, mature story. that is going to be crazy. And then one thing we do know is that Miles Morales will get involved with this. Wolverine is going to get involved with this. I'm still rooting. There needs to be a Wolverine versus Carnage fight. They have never fought one-on-one. It has never happened. How has this never happened? Hatman, how has this never happened?
I don't know, but it needs to happen.
Exactly. I can't think of a more awesome fight than Carnage versus Wolverine that hasn't already been done. So, yeah. Oh, Swordsman 100 makes a good point. Eddie would know Peter's identity again because the symbiote rebonded to him and go down swinging, which was the last arc in Dan Slott's run on the comic. Okay, so Hatman, any questions about this one before we move on? Because this obviously gets a 2 thumbs up from me.
How does it relate back to Maximum Carnage? Like, is it an homage to it?
It's
more
referenced.
than anything else. Is it? Okay.
But it's not.
So it's not trying to play on any same note.
Not really. No, it's a different way of doing things.
Okay.
Basically, what the Carnage symbiote can do now is something that was kind of expanded on or done originally in Carnage USA, where he can use it to mind control other people. Now he can, and now instead of having a direct connection to the symbiote, he can flick pieces of it and it bonds to people, so he can control them from a distance.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, it's badass. I love this book. I'm looking forward to the next one. Which, by the way, apparently they're releasing all of them within the course of a couple of months. I think it's going to be a quick event, which is good because that's how events should be. They should be just a few months of comics, then done. That's it. That's all you really need. All right. Moving on. Hatman, are you ready to unveil it? For those who have not seen it.
What am I unveiling?
Well, as many of you know, we will be going to the International Conference on Men's Issues next weekend. We're going to try to do the podcast live from the hotel. And we're on our panel on Sunday at 11 o'clock, noonish, whatever.
I need to go grab them.
We are going to be... Well, I have the image.
Back.
But, we are going to be wearing, Hatman and I and Aiden Paladin, a very specific shirt to send a very specific message. Yeah. Mark Wade's a prick. Just drink it in. And of course, you can see on my left the Vanilla Gorilla seal of approval. Yeah. We're doing it. Now, the Vanilla Gorilla seal of approval will be coming on something different, but I just felt like putting it there because I have obviously approved of this shirt.
Approval on it?
Yes. So...
Okay. So... I guess I need to cut my camera back on.
Go right ahead. Let me...
But yeah.
Let me go ahead and hold on. Hold on.
It,
there we go.
I'll keep holding it. This one's yours, by the way.
Well, that's probably why it's so huge.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, these are real. I made these.
Yes. And the in the chat, if you guys want us to, whenever we launch our Shopify store, we will put these on sale for you.
Hell, I will sell them now if you guys want them. Get in touch if you actually want one of these.
Yes.
What, $20?
$20, and it can be yours. So get in touch with Hatman.
$20, and you can get one, and that'll cover your shipping too. Fuck it.
Yep.
I need to put these in a place where they won't catch fire. Try with the Comic-Con. Yeah, I'm gonna cut my camera now. It says stop motion Hatman.
So yes, we will definitely be selling these as part of the merch store, though. Whenever it comes up.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And of course, donations are open just in general because I need comfort food because my head's killing me. So, but no, needless to say, we'll be wearing these Mark Waid as a Prick shirts. The panel will be emceed by Dr. Randomercam, and it will have myself, Hatman, Aiden Paladin, just some guy, and then some dude who was involved in the whole Sad Puppies thing. I always forget his name. So to that dude,
Brad
I apologize.
Torgerson.
That's it. So apologies, but I always forget you. But anyway, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun panel. I think that it'll be very enjoyable, to say the least. So check that out. We are going to record it, to my recollection. I am definitely going to be putting it on my main channel as well. With probably do a highlights video first, and then do the whole thing afterwards. So, all right.
Can I get the colors reversed? Black shirt and white text.
We have black shirts on order.
We do. Those shirts are meant to go to the store and the Englewood campaign.
Yeah.
At least what I've got. A lot of the or not a lot of it, but the Waid shirts that I got right now are overstock that we have, because we have a lot of white shirts on overstock. I think we have some black shirts. Send me your size, and I'll see what I can do.
Yep. Maybe you could find out why Aiden loves Mark Waid's Daredevil, one of the worst Daredevil. Office Whisper, you asked her that question the last time we had her on, and she answered it. But anyway, let's see here. So
also, Elusive Swede. I don't remember if I got the updated email. I might have. I sent you one too, and I haven't gotten a response. So maybe I need to resend that one.
Yes. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the next part, though. So what we're going to do is we are going to be talking about some of our favorite comic book runs. Because we didn't really have any agendas this week. So, Hatman, I will go ahead and let you start off.
Because of course I have to start off.
Yes.
Okay, so we're just doing like, I'll pick one, then you pick one.
Well, no, I've already got all three of yours right in front of the audience, so just go ahead and
roll through them. Cool. All right, so this is going to be Daredevil Born Again, because this is your quintessential Daredevil story. This is Matt Murdock, falling to his lowest low, and then still rising above. It's a wonderful story. It's one of those where you kind of have to ask yourself, my God, like, how is he going to come out of this? How is he going to come out of this in one piece? Is he going to be able to continue being Daredevil after this? Because now King knows his identity. How do you stop something like that? Because obviously the most valuable thing to a superhero is their secret identity. So, yeah, it's a great story. It is a classic, the quintessential Daredevil story, of course. Probably the best of all of them. Good stuff. Second is a comic that we have covered, but Micah has yet to finish for reasons unknown. The Hatman. This is not so much like an art as it is I guess a limited series, you could say, even though it's not really limited. But I digress. It's good. For those who don't know or don't remember, Y the Last Man is about a virus that suddenly wipes out all species with a Y chromosome on Earth. And there are two male survivors, a man named Yorick and his pet monkey named Ampersand. And they have to fix everything. Yeah. It's not the, I guess, the anti-male sort of thing that most people these days think it is. If anything, it has an message to it, and crafted. The characters were situations ordered from serious to hilarious, and my God, the will be to manly tears, of course. And the last one, of course, the one that I talk about because for some reason this is the series that I have a big attachment to. Howard the Duck, or as I like to say, the original Daredevil.
The original
Or
Daredevil.
not Daredevil, Deadpool. Wow, I can't even get my own quote right. Anyway, yeah, the original Deadpool, not Daredevil, because I'm looking at Daredevil right now. That's why. Anyway, the original Deadpool, because he has got the fourth wall breaking satire behind him. Howard the Duck, at least the first run of it, first 20 issues ish. Gerb was the author. Was satirical of the era, the early 70s, and well, early mid 70s, and was great. Even had a presidential campaign attached to it. Howard in 76, the late night party. Get down, America. And believe it or not, this actually resulted in a lot of write-in votes for Howard the Duck in the election in 1976. Fun to think of it. But it's one of the comic overlooked. Howard the Duck as the crappy movie. That one cameo at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. But I'm serious. Give his comic a shot. The recent Chip Zdarsky run was not bad, but go back to the original. It is way, way better than I could sell it. It's really good. It's really funny. And the first issue has Spider-Man in it. And I believe there's another issue that has Spider-Man pop up too. For the most part, is sort of confined to its own world-ish, but it's good stuff. I'm still...
Yes. Come with Hatman if you want to live. Alright, let's go ahead and get to my picks